Okay, convictions. This is a serious word that I've brought up in the past, but I want to make another video about it because I just watched somebody talk about convictions and mix it with Christianity. And really, I wanted to kind of say, I wanted to bring the person up, but really I'm going to be like kind of, negative. I'll be in a Discord negative thing. I don't want to reside in Discord, especially like long range Discord is, not against my religion pretty much. So I want to talk about conviction. Changing your convictions, changing your firmly held beliefs or opinions. We're going to talk about if you are somebody that is not happy with yourselves. You are such a powerful being. That's where you are. You believe that you're a powerful being, except you truly believe that you have an opponent that you can't beat, and you don't deserve to not beat them. Right? You have an enemy that you cannot beat, and you deserve, in your mind, you believe that you deserve to beat them. Well, here's the thing, is your convictions are commonly going to be the centrifuge on whether or not you're going to beat them or not. So, what are you trying to beat them at? You're trying to beat them at something. Now, and you're not beating them. But you're so strong, you beat people that arguably, beat them, right? So why is it that you're losing? What's going on here? What's wrong? So we're going to talk about being powerful, like near God tier powerful, and still losing to your opponent who appears to be less than that. Well, their convictions are basically defining their appearance. So if there's somebody that's of peace, what I want to give you is my convictions, my 1 and 2 convictions in war against others is: only fight against discord around your presence, and only fight close range, meaning no long range battles. And if there is any long range battles, it should be done with your spirit, non-conscious you, your spirits, the essence of you. Like you're making that upon yourself, and your natural decoherence, the light, that emanates off of you, is doing the war for you at long range. So everything is done within grace and ease and peace. And when you aren't in those states, you are kind of creating chaos energy around you, that which you're going to have to rebuttal in. Now, chaos energy is actually not always a bad thing, though. Some people get that mistaken. Chaos energy in your opponent's battlefield is a bad thing, because you are going to eventually have to leave or take over your opponent's battlefield. And if you don't take over your opponent's battlefield, which is a gamble, then that chaos energy is going to be left in their court, and they'll be able to gather that up and make order energy out of it, and eventually beat you with their greater order now. Which is why I always say don't attack people long range. So my 2 convictions are: only fight against discord, and only fight close range on your battlefield. These convictions will make you basically a god eventually. These convictions will make you immortal. Now you're going to tell me that because of the way the universe works, and we're always moving at the rate of the movement of Earth, and the rate of the movement of the universe, and so on and so forth, and you have to go to work, and you have to go home, and you have to do all this movement, that you're not going to be able to beat your enemies this way. I'm going to rebuttal that with infinite micromatter is the counter. Infinite micromatter counters this dilemma that we're always moving with energy juggling. You can infinitely compress and energy juggle more energy inside of your square vectors endlessly. There's no limit. So the whole idea that, we're always moving, well, that's not true. That's more so in order to put the power in a God's control. And this God is going to be a righteous God. He's going to know that you were fighting righteously, and he'll set up your particle configurations, your auras, your compressions, and your redundancies and whatnot. Basically, all of this is going to be compiled with your life force, redundancies, and soul, and that will superpower you and make you climb up the ranks of the universe, of the order and mass and energy ranks of the universe, and you will have a stronger spirit, you'll have a stronger soul by following my convictions. But what I really wanted to talk about is somebody was saying that you, as a Christian, you would have to change your convictions in order to know what's right and wrong. There is eventually a point in which you are correct, right? You're not always going to be feeling the wrong thing. They were saying that your feelings might be wrong, and they can be. You can have your feelings set up wrong. It's called purification. Now, I talked about this in one of my last previous videos too. Purification is a state in which, your body, your mind, your soul, what you really want to do is you want to surrender to God. And it's not just God, it's the Holy Spirit. You don't just want only God. You want the Pope. You want the saints. You want the Holy Spirit. Because, yes, maybe God has researched every single Holy Spirit you could ever lay your eyes on. And, that will just allow you to be in the best possible place. But the thing is like, you might not know that. You might not be able to canonize that. It's going to be impossible for you to canonize all of God. So instead, you can go and canonize all of the Holy Spirit, all of the saints, the doctrines, the Bible, the books, the Vatican stored doctrines that aren't part of the Bible, and more. You can research more than the Bible, more than this, to get the Holy Spirit inside of you. And then comes climbing up. My goals are to climb within the holier sects of religion, and to keep my convictions the same, to keep my convictions as two things, two-parted. No discord in my presence, and fight discord in my presence, and don't leave my presence to go and do it somewhere else. And don't just fall for it. They're like, oh, I astral teleported back to my body. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm already fighting you with my spirit there, which is just casting things around my body differently than I normally would have, without shooting energy out of my body. It's just living differently. There's infinite ways to live differently upon yourself that don't cost anything other than living. Now, then there's the next phase where it's like, it's sin now to do that, and eventually you'll get found guilty and you'll lose in court. Yes and no. Basically, in America, God is going to be one of the best diplomats with Americans. He is going to acknowledge the law. If you're not leaving your jurisdiction and going to another country and breaking their law on purpose, and even if you don't know it or not, right, then he's going to side with you because he knows the law where you are. So if you know the law where you are and you're following it, regardless of whether somebody else's morals or convictions state that it's illegal or wrong, God is one of the world's best diplomats. And, in a world where, let's say there's land, right? God gives land to the holy sects, and he wages war against the unholy sects. So the unholy sects and their laws don't necessarily matter. When you are declared an unholy sect, you will have to change your convictions. If you have firmly held beliefs and opinions about Babylon, or about a gang world, or about cartel world, or about, any of these kind of, unholy positions in the universe, your convictions will have to change, because they can't stabilize you through your purification process. And purification is the most valuable thing. Purification is order. It's infinitely valuable. It's infinitely unquantifiable amounts of money and energy and power go into order and purifying souls. Purifying souls is the same thing as your body is a drone, your soul is a drone, right? You are made of physical mass and energy, and we can upgrade you. But they're not going to do it for free. It costs money. And there's a bank of Jesus Christ, baby. There's a bank of God. And I mean, you're always spending and buying in there. And you got to think about it this way. Like, you see somebody do something wrong, you want to torture them forever? Well, they just made the best investment of their life. Because they did one thing wrong, and you just gave them your entire bank account. And now you have to claw back up. But they don't. So you have to worry about how you attack. You know, if somebody did something wrong and they've been profiting for a very long time, well, eventually a class action will come out, and each and every single person that they've done wrong, those profits will get distributed. So you have to have some faith that you don't have to be a knight in this world. Just report when people are breaking the law. Report when people are doing things wrong. I'm not telling you to be a snitch either. If you and your boy agree to do something, in my opinion, you should agree. You should keep that agreement, or maybe tell him that, hey, this is the wrong thing to do. We should go do something else. And if that gets you in a fight and you have to walk away and lose a friend because you didn't want to do illegal activity with your friend, you probably should. That's a good advice right there. Not all of us have chosen that path. Sometimes we choose the other path, and then not only that, we basically break our own convictions. We're here. Our convictions are to follow the law and profit and go up and get higher purification. But you break the law one time and you lose little pieces of your path, and you have to work it back up. It's all about comparing to that long-term future where the would-be, could-be, should-be's, right? Would-be, could-be, should-be doesn't actually work. What is, and that's all there is, and there's nothing else. There is nothing in the universe that isn't. It's that simple. So many people point to what isn't and say, I'm going to make that. And sometimes they never can. No matter how hard they try, they can't. They try over and over and over and over, and they can't. Especially those that, get called witches, those that are evil. The last thing I want to remind y'all of is a word called sacrilege. Sacrilege. Sacrilegion. Okay, well, sacrilege is involving committing sacrilege. Okay, thanks. Thanks for that in-depth definition. I totally understand. Violation or misuse of what is regarded as sacred. Okay. I kind of changed this word to anything anti-religious. Like, religion is supposed to be true. It is. It's not supposed to be this I believe it thing. Everybody mind washes you over and over and over. Believe in Jesus Christ. Believe in the Lord and Jesus Christ. It's not that. Religion is a true thing. And the way it works is it kind of works in the logics of the fifth dimensional multiversal thing, where multiple religions are simultaneously true. All right? And they come together on earth as one. And the things that are proven to be true and canonized to be true stay true endlessly and are endlessly going to be a religion. The ones that are not have to revise into true state, and eventually you get, flying spaghetti monster religion, where they literally say that it's not true, but it got religion status because a million signatures believe that it's not true. Okay, that's cool, and then you're true. You literally told the truth about your religion. If you want to believe that something isn't true and that's your religion, go ahead, because that's legal. But believing in a false is not a religion thing. So what I want to tell you is that sacrilege is a real thing that people do in the universe, especially on Christianity, the world's number one religion over time. The world's number one religion in our history is Christianity. Christianity has suffered the largest sacrilege forces ever, as far as I'm aware. Maybe not. Maybe Muslim did. I'm in my experiences, it's Christianity though. But the close second or the first is Muslim. That's besides the point. That's not for me. I'm studying Christianity, and I'm studying like Hindu and Buddhism, and these more peaceful. I shouldn't say more peaceful. I shouldn't say anything of that, because I'm just studying mostly Christian in the first place. I'm studying Latter-day Saints. I'm studying Catholic. I'm kind of staying away from almost everything else for the most part right now. Just Latter-day Saints and Catholic, the Bible, Root Bible, and the Book of Mormon. Anyway, what I'm trying to tell you about Sacrilege is I'm trying to warn you about how many people changed the Bible for their own personal reasons and removed parts of it for basically violation or misuse of what is regarded as sacred. Anyway, I'm going to keep carrying on and babbling for a long time. I just wanted y'all to be worried, careful, considerate, alarmed, looking into the sacrilege that Christianity has had. We all know the problems with the English Bible. We all know what King James and the Apostle Paul did during those times, killing thousands of Christians each. We all know that William Tyndale changed the Bible for personal reasons multiple times. He was executed for it and killed for it. And these are our major English writers of the Bible. That's why we have interpreters, people that can see through their will and their workings, that which are believed to be satanic and possibly evil and sacrilegious, right? And that's where the Book of Mormon comes from, is we have a prophet that can see through that kind of stuff and research what's going on. Also, I'm doing pretty good. Every single time that I see the Bible, I know what's going on. I have really good spirit guides. I believe that the archangels are with me, the angels are with me. I believe I am an archangel. I have angels with me. I don't have any dedicated angels that I was like, ooh, I'm gonna make sure that I have these angels. No, God grants you his angels, and you have no idea who they are, and they're the ones that help heal and purify your world when it's corrupted. Because there is flash corruption. We're talking about like instantaneous scalar corruption relative to my senses that goes on every single day, that which I have to worry about. I have to look for mass concord to find truth. And it's a certain type of thing where it's like it costs a lot to live every single second, every single moment. At all moments it costs a lot. And that's what purification is. Anyway, OMG Bomber out. Have a beautiful day. Peace.